Hi guys. So this video is just to clarify game theory. So for anyone who might be having any difficulties with it, so we'll go through questions 1 and 2 in the game theory worksheet. So question 1A, determine P1 and P2 for player A. So each game theory question would have a matrix as we have here. So part A, we're going to determine P1 and P2 for player A. And how we do that? So step 1, for that you multiply the numbers on top by P1 and you multiply the numbers on the bottom by P2. So when you do that, the matrix will look like you have 1P1 here, 7P1 here, 6P2 here, 5P2 here. Step 2, you add each pair of P1 and P2. So you have a 1P1 and a 6P2 here, you have a 7P1 and 5P2 here. It looks like 7P1 plus 6P2, and you also have 7P1 plus 5P2. Step 3, you put them equal to each other. So you have 1P1 plus 6P2 equals 7P1 plus 5P2. And then step 4, you solve for P1 or P2. So it doesn't matter in the end. You're going to get the same answer overall in the end. So I will just solve for P1, but it wouldn't make a difference, right? Solving for P1. Again, we start with 1P1 plus 6P2 equals 7P1 plus 5P2. We group the P1s on the left side, so you end up with minus 6P1 here. You group the P2s on the side, so you end up with minus 1P2 on the side. And then you divide both sides by minus 6, so you get P1 is equal to 16P2. And we could just label this equation 1, so P1 plus P1 is equal to 16P2, and we'll just label that as equation 1. Step 5, for player A, the equation is always P1 plus P2 equals 1. So P1 plus P2 equals 1, that's equation 2. So we have a pair of equations. And step 6, you just want to solve equations 1 and equations 2 simultaneously. And when you do that, you should find that P1 is equal to 1/7 and P2 is equal to 6/7. So that answers part A, which was determine P1 and P2 for player A. So we've done that. Part B, determine the payoff for A. So to determine the payoff for A, you substitute the values for P1 and P2. So in this case, P1 is 1/7 as we solved here, and P2 is 6/7 as we solved here. You substitute those values into either of the equations from step 2. So remember, step 2, we created these equations here, 1P1 plus 6P2, and on the other side we had 7P1 plus 5P2. So you're going to substitute P1 and P2 into either one side of this. So you can substitute the 6/7s and the other one here, or you can substitute them inside of here. So if we get 1 times 1/7 plus 6 times 6/7, and when you work that out, you get 37/7. Or you could use the other one and you get 7 times 1/7 plus 5 times 6/7, and you get 37/7. So again, it doesn't matter, you get the same answer. So either one works to give the same answer, and the point is the payoff for A is 37.7. Then part C, determine Q1 and Q2 for player B. So in order to determine Q1 and Q2 for player B, we go through the same, more or less the same steps, but it's a bit different for setting up the matrix. So you go back to the original matrix and you multiply every number in the first column by Q1 and multiply every number in the second column by Q2. So here we multiply everything by Q1 and everything in the second column by Q2. So we get 1Q1, 7Q2, 6Q1, 5Q2, and then you add each pair of Q1 and Q2, so you get 1Q1 plus 7Q2, and on the other side you have 6Q1 plus 5Q2. Step 3, you put them equal to each other, So you get 1q1 plus 7q2 is equal to 6q1 plus 5q2. And again, doesn't matter which one you solve for. I will just solve for the first variable, so, but again it doesn't matter. So I'll just solve for q1. So solving for q1, you start with 1q1 plus 7q2 is equal to 6q1 plus 5q2, and you group the q1s on the left side, you get minus 5q1. You group the q2s on the right side, you get minus 2q2. You solve for q1, so you divide both sides by minus 5, so you get q1 is equal to 2/5 q2. And that's equation 1. Step 5, for player B, equation 2 is always q1 plus q2 is equal to 1. So we label q1 plus q2 is equal to 1 as equation 2. Again, you solve equation 1 and 2 simultaneously. So solve this equation 1. You solve this simultaneously. So you get q1 is equal to 2/7 and q2 is equal to 5/7. And that answers the part for determine q1 and q2 for player B. So hence determine the payoff for player B. So it's similar, we substitute into any one of the equations from step 2 for player B. So either one of these equations here, you can substitute the q1 and q2 values that you found. So we'll just run through that here. So you get 1 times 2/7 plus 7 times 5/7, that gives you 37/7, or 6 times 2/7 plus 5 times 5/7, that gives you 37/7. And the payoff for B is 37/7. Now, the payoff for A and B is always going to be the same in this type of question. So there's a quick way to check. So once you get the payoffs for A and B to match, then most likely you're on the right track. Part E now, hence determine the value of the game. Now in order to determine the value of the game, the value of the game is basically the payoff for A or the payoff for B. And we said that the payoff for A was 37/7 and the payoff for B was 37/7. The point is the payoff for A and B will both be the same value, in this case 37/7. So the payoffs will be the same. So the value of the game is just equal to whatever the payoff is. And in this case the payoff is 37/7. So the value of the game is also 37/7.